Welcome back, everyone, to our classroom called the College of Glycation. This is the podcast where we discuss the science behind chronic diseases, break down the science, and give you tools to take control. Once again, my name is Paul Reynolds. I'm a biomedical scientist and professor of cell biology. If you've been following along, you know that we've been looking closely into how our metabolism shapes energy consumption, normal physiology, but also chronic diseases. Today, we're building on those earlier episodes where we talked about glycation. That's, again, the sneaky process where sugars stick to proteins and fats in our bodies, creating in the process advanced glycation end products or AGEs. This episode is all about how glycation compromises our eyes and its particular role in eye health. We'll explore the links to conditions like blindness, cataracts, and macular degeneration, the role of aging, and yes, insulin resistance, because as you know, that's often right in the middle of all of these metabolic catastrophes. By the end of this episode, you'll have strategies to fight back and keep your eyes healthy and effective. So let's start by setting the stage with a quick refresher on glycation, because if you're new here or need a reminder, this is the foundation for everything we're talking about today. Glycation is what happens when sugar molecules in your bloodstream, like glucose and fructose, stick to proteins, lipids, and even DNA without an enzyme to control the process. Think of it like caramelizing a piece of meat, except instead of a tasty crust, you're gunking up the delicate machinery of your body. These sticky sugar-protein combinations form what we call advanced glycation end products, or AGEs, and they are, in fact, troublemakers. They stiffen tissues, trigger inflammation, and disrupt normal cellular function. Now, glycation happens naturally to some degree. We're all aging, after all, but it ramps up significantly when blood sugar levels are chronically high, like in the case of diabetes or insulin resistance. And when it comes to your eyes, a place where proteins need to stay pristine to keep your vision sharp, glycation is like sand in the gears. It's a slow, progressive compromise of function, and the eyes are particularly vulnerable because many of their proteins, like those in the lens or in the retina, don't turn over very quickly. They're long-lasting proteins. Once they are glycated, they are damaged, therefore, for a very long time. So with that groundwork laid, let's dive into how glycation wreaks havoc on your eyes and why it is a bigger deal than you might think. Your eyes are a marvel of engineering, but they're also a glycation hotspot. And why is that? Well, the eye is packed with long-lived proteins and structures that don't regenerate very quickly, if at all. Let's start with the lens, the clear structure that focuses light onto your retina. The lens is made up of special proteins called crystallins, and these are designed to stay transparent and precisely organized to let light pass through undistorted. But when sugar molecules attach to these crystalline proteins via glycation, they start to clump together, forming cloudy patches in the process. And this is the beginning of a cataract, where lens loses its clarity, making your vision blurry or hazy. A 2020 study published in the International Journal of Molecular Sciences showed that glycation in the lens, particularly in diabetic rats, increased oxidative stress and inhibited the protective enzymes like aldose reductase, leading to much faster cataract formation. The researchers found that compounds like berberine could reduce this damage, hinting at potential protective strategies, which we'll get to a bit later. But it's not just the lens. The retina, that light-sensitive layer in the back of your eye, is another glycation target. The retinal pigment epithelium, or RPE, is a critical layer of epithelial cells that support the photoreceptors. Those are cells that actually detect the light. And when ages accumulate in the RPE, they disrupt its ability to clear debris, like lipofuscin, which is a toxic byproduct of retinal metabolism. Therefore, this buildup is a hallmark of age-related diseases like age-related macular degeneration, or AMD, which is the leading cause of blindness in older adults. Just last year, in 2024, there was a review published in the Progress in Retinal Eye Research, and they nailed this point particularly. They showed that glycative stress from high glycemic diets directly contributes to AMD, and they do so by piling up these ages in the retina, leading to inflammation and cell death. And it's not just cataracts and AMD. Glycation also plays a role in diabetic retinopathy, where high blood sugar damages the tiny blood vessels in the retina, causing them to leak, to swell, and even causing abnormal vessel growth. A few years ago, in 2022, there was a study in the Frontiers of Endocrinology, and the researchers highlighted how ages disrupt the blood-retinal barrier, letting fluid and proteins seep into spaces they shouldn't, which can lead to vision loss. Glaucoma also gets the nod in this discussion. Glycation stiffens what's called the trabecular meshwork. That's the very delicate drainage system of the eye, and in the process increases intraocular pressure. That's pressure within the eye that can, over time, damage the optic nerve. So what's the common thread here? Well, of course, glycation. It isn't an isolated event. It compounds over time, progressively compromising the eye's delicate structures. And aging makes it worse because as we get older, our antioxidant defenses begin to weaken, and our ability to clear ages naturally diminishes. It's a slow motion train wreck, and high blood sugar is the fuel. So let's talk about what one might call the elephant in the room, this idea of insulin resistance. If you've listened to this podcast before, you know I'm trying not to be a broken record on this topic, but it is, for good reason, discussed often. It is the root of so many chronic diseases, including the eye problems that we're discussing today. Insulin resistance is when your cells stop responding properly to insulin. That's the hormone that tells your body to pull glucose out of the bloodstream and push it into cells. And when this happens, blood sugar stays elevated. And that's a glycation disaster waiting to happen. So here's the deal. Insulin resistance doesn't just mean high blood sugar. It means your body is constantly bathed in glucose, giving it more chances to stick to proteins and form ages. In the eyes, this is particularly bad news. In 2018, there was a study in the Biochemica and Biophysica Acta journal, and they explained how insulin resistance drives age accumulation in the retina, leading to oxidative stress and inflammation that damage the retinal pigment epithelium and its photoreceptors. This sets the stage for, again, as I've mentioned, AMD and diabetic retinopathy. So why is insulin resistance such a problem? Well, again, it's not just about the sugar. It's about the downstream effects: inflammation, oxidative stress, and impaired cellular cleanup systems like autophagy. These normally help to clear out damaged proteins. When these systems fail, ages pile up and the eyes, I promise, will suffer. Several years ago, in 2014, actually, there was a study in the journal Current Diabetes Reviews, and they put it very bluntly, even back then, ages in the retina disrupt everything from blood vessel integrity to cellular metabolism. making diabetic retinopathy almost inevitable in those that poorly control diabetes. But please remember, insulin resistance isn't just a diabetes thing. You can be insulin resistant without being diabetic, thanks to a diet that's high in refined carbohydrates and sugars. That constant glucose spike from your daily soda or bagel is quietly glycating your eye proteins, setting you up for trouble down the road. So the stakes here are high. Glycation-driven eye diseases aren't just annoyances. They can, in time, rob you of your vision. Cataracts affect over 24 million Americans over the age of 40, and they're not just an aging condition. Glycation accelerates them, especially in people that have, again, insulin resistance or diabetes. Age-related macular degeneration is even scarier. This affects 11 million people in the United States alone and causes irreversible central vision loss. Diabetic retinopathy is the leading cause of blindness in working age adults, with 7 million cases in the US alone. These stats all come from a 2020 publication in the Frontiers of Pharmacology, and they are, in fact, a true wake-up call. The progressive nature of these conditions is what makes them so insidious. Glycation doesn't just damage a protein and then call it a day. It triggers a cascade. In the lens, glycated crystallins clump together. They scatter light and create cataracts, as I've mentioned. In the retina, inflammation abounds. Nutrient delivery is blocked, and vessels struggle. Over time, these changes erode our vision, and they may begin with some blurry spots or distorted lines, and potentially the culminating effect is blindness. So the scary part is that these conditions often start silently. You might not notice until the damage is advanced, which is why understanding glycation and its role in eye health is so critical. But don't worry, we're not leaving you hanging. There are ways to fight back. Enough with the doom and gloom. Let's talk about what you can do to protect your eyes from glycation's wrath. The good news is that you do, in fact, have more control than you might think. And it starts, first off, with managing blood sugar and insulin resistance, but it does go beyond that. So here are some evidence-backed strategies supported by the scientific literature that can help keep your eyes sharp and healthy. Number one is control your blood sugar with diet. The single most powerful way to reduce glycation is to keep your blood sugar in check. And what that means is cutting back on high glycemic foods. Imagine, in this case, white bread, sugary drinks, and highly processed carbohydrates. That was supported by an article written, among many others, in 2017 in the journal PNAS, a highlighted important journal. And the authors showed that switching, in this case, to a low glycemic diet, even late in life, can halt or reverse AMD features in mice by way of reducing age accumulation in the retina. The study also went further and pointed to the gut-retina axis. That's where low glycemic diets shift your gut microbiome to produce protective metabolites like serotonin. So ditch the sugars and go for whole foods, meat, eggs, leafy greens, and healthy fats like olive oil or avocado. The second thing you can do is boost your antioxidants. Glycation and oxidative stress go hand in hand, so loading up on antioxidants can help. In 2023, a review published in the journal Antioxidants highlighted the role of dietary antioxidants like lutein, zeaxanthin, and a few others in reducing age-induced damage in the retina. These compounds, which are clearly found in foods like spinach and kale, salmon, etc., can scavenge free radicals and protect retinal cells. Supplements can help, such as glutathione, vitamin C, vitamin E, but whole foods, I believe, are best. The third thing is you can consider anti-glycation compounds. Some compounds have shown promise in blocking glycation or breaking the crosslinks that exist within ages. Last year, in 2024, in the International Journal of Molecular Sciences, they explored how fructosyl amino oxidase is a potential enzyme that may reduce ages in AMD. Another study in 2020 in the same journal found that berberine, a plant compound, reduces glycation and oxidative stress in diabetic rat lenses. So talk to your doctor before trying supplements, but these are exciting areas of research that may show great promise. The fourth thing that you can do is manage better your insulin resistance, because insulin resistance fuels glycation. Tackling it is the key. And one area that you can address in addition to your diet is exercising regularly, especially resistance training, because that has been shown to improve your insulin sensitivity, as does, again, cutting carbs and prioritizing protein and fat. Some may choose to go through what's called intermittent fasting. If you basically just skip one meal, that would be enough as a start. Intermittent fasting, or periodically avoiding the feasting, can also help. It lowers blood sugar and gives your body a break from that constant glucose exposure. Another thing, number 5 in the list here today, is to do regular eye checkups. Finally, in this case, don't skip your eye exams. Early detection of cataracts, AMD, or diabetic retinopathy can make a huge difference. Your eye doctor can spot glycation-related changes before you notice symptoms, often giving you a head start on course correction. So let's tie this all together. Glycation is a natural part of aging, but it is supercharged by high blood sugar and insulin resistance, and it hits your eyes particularly hard. From cataracts, clouding your lens, to AMD and diabetic retinopathy, all wreaking havoc on your retina, glycation is a slow, progressive thief of your vision, if you allow it. But you're not helpless. We've already talked about how controlling your diet, boosting antioxidants, staying on top of insulin resistance, all of these approaches can help you protect your eyes and keep you seeing the world clearly. The science is clear. Glycation isn't just a fad, it's a real driver of these and other eye diseases, backed by decades of research. The solutions are practical, they're accessible, and within your control. So next time you are tempted to reach for that sugary snack, think about your eyes, because they are worth it. So let's end with a suggestion, as I've always given, to stay curious. You'll want to keep learning about your metabolic health, because knowledge can prepare you to better take care of your eyes and your metabolism. Thanks one and all for joining me today. I'll see you next time. Stay sharp and stay healthy.